Morning everyone. Well, I promised to do a video on how to set up an LTE router. I've never done this before, so I'm afraid you'll have to take it as it comes. I'll do my best. I'm not a network engineer. I'm an IT nerd, but not specifically a network engineer, so it may not be perfect. I'm sure somebody will put me right on YouTube, as they always do. So what I was looking at is specifically how to set up an LTE connection for France, where I've had a lot of problems getting a decent internet connection. In the past I've been using this thing. This is a standard, I think they call them MiFis. You put a SIM card in the back and it works, it connects to the internet and it gives you a basic Wi-Fi connection. Pretty good. I've saved my bacon many a time, but it's not good when you want to put a decent speed connection through it, or you want more than one person connected to it. As I say, saved my bacon a few times, this thing, so it's been very good. I used this in France and it worked perfectly, so I've got no reason to believe this one won't. Both by the same manufacturer. I'm going to refer to them as Huawei. I've no idea that that's the correct way to pronounce it, but it's the best I can do. The one I've got here is the B315 I think it's just referred to as the B315. There are other models. There's a B525 and I think a B618. As you get up the higher numbers, they're newer, they go up to higher speeds, but I think it's only the speed from the router through to the client. So unless you've got a very high speed internet, I suspect those more expensive higher model numbers probably don't give you much benefit. What you're going to need to set this up is basically the kit, and of course a SIM card. This is a UK 3 SIM card. I've used it in France, worked perfectly, so I've got no reason to believe that other SIM cards won't. If you mess up, you'll want one of these things for resetting this. And if you do, you can never get into a situation where you've messed it up. Basically, if you reset it, you start from the beginning again. So if you mess up, reset it, have another go. There's a basic instruction book which is pretty good, the standard power supply, the actual device itself. On the bottom of the device, and I'm going to cover up all my numbers, I don't particularly want to give them to the whole world. On the bottom of the device you've got the name of the device when you set it up, and how to connect to it, and usernames, passwords, etc. Worthwhile taking a picture on your phone of the bottom of this before you go and set it up, so that you don't have to keep going up to it, tipping it over and trying to remember complex passwords and numbers. First thing you have to do when you connect it up, take your SIM card and place it in the back here. There's a little corner to show you which way round it goes. It takes a large SIM card, which is quite rare, then most of them have gone to the smaller ones. And you put that in there. Behind here there's two connections, if I can get into them, for external antennae, and I'll go on to that in a minute. This device works pretty well without any external aerial devices. However, in my house the ground floor gets virtually no mobile signal, middle floor gets reasonable, and the terrace gets fantastic. So the idea is that I can move the aerial from the middle floor up onto the roof. This is the aerial I've purchased. It has two connections. One aerial goes one way, the other goes the other. It's waterproof and sealed, and you can mount it either stuck to a window, I don't particularly like that idea, or you can mount it on a pole, or you can screw it onto the wall. The thing to remember is that when you make the holes, always cover these up. They're very delicate. Always cover them up. You don't want dust and muck in there when you put them through the hole in the wall. But this has a 5 metre cable, so it allows me to put this up on the terrace and leave this down where I want it and where I want the Wi-Fi signal. To switch it on, very simple. Like any other device, you take the power lead and plug it in. I say it's simple, but it's going to prove me wrong now. Never work with children, animals or technology, that's what they say. There we go. Should have done that first. So I'll plug it in and you'll notice the lights start to come up on the front. Power light, This is when it's connecting to the mobile network. Seems to be very slow at starting up, this device, but so it started trying to connect. That will go I think it goes greeny blue when it actually connects. There it goes. This is the signal strength. This is the Wi-Fi coming on, and this is when you've got devices connect to it, I believe. I've never actually looked at this. So you can see I've actually got quite a good signal here. I've got 3 bars. I'm not going to need to put the external aerial on. Now on the bottom here it will give you what is the SSID, which is the name of the Wi-Fi that will come up on your computer. So next we'll go to the computer and we'll actually try connecting to this. So we've now got the router on. We've got a connection to the mobile network. Our Wi-Fi is up. We've got good signal strength. Now's the time to actually connect to our new Wi-Fi. On a Mac it's up here. If you've got Windows it's going to be down the bottom right here somewhere, but it's fairly straightforward to find, and I'm sure you've connected to Wi-Fi networks before. If you click on the Wi-Fi you'll see here that I have Huawei, pronounced wrongly I'm sure, -B315-D736, which is the SSID that's listed on the bottom of the actual device. So I click on there and it will connect to that network, and it's connected. That was incredibly fast. After that, on the bottom of the device you'll get an IP address, which is just the address of the router on your network. And on mine, and I suspect it's the same for all of them actually, it is 0.8.1. So now you're connected to your Wi-Fi, which connects to the device itself, and now you've logged in to the device. So this is actually logging in to this box where you can do the settings. Now on the bottom of the device there is also a username and password. The default for mine is admin and admin, probably the same for everyone. And it tells me that the strength of my password is too low, change it now. So I'm going to change it to something far more secure, and it tells you how strong it is there. Oh, sorry, I've done that wrong. Should have put in the old password there and the new one twice. So that was my old password, admin. I've put in a new password twice here and applied it. So this is my device. It's recognized correctly that I'm on a 3 UK SIM card, so that's what it's connected to. I have to log back in because I've changed the password. So I log back in. My username is admin, but now I have my new password. And there I go. I've lost a bar while I'm doing that, but I am still on 4G. That's basically it. I mean, you now have a Wi-Fi connection using the name that they have, and you can connect to it with the password that's on the bottom of the router. So for example, on mine I have WPS PIN, and that's the password that I would use to connect to this Wi-Fi unit. Personally, I don't like giving away the device I've got, so I like to change the name of the device, and if you want to go on and do that, I'll cover that in a second. For those of you who just want to get connected, you are now connected. For those of you that want to go a bit further and set it up, customize it a little bit more, you have to log in using your admin username and the password that you were forced to change when you first connected to it. If you go to settings and WLAN basic settings, you get the chance here to change the name of your Wi-Fi network. So just for the sake of argument, I'm going to call mine GeorgeNet, and I'm going to give it the password let me in 123. I actually like a simple password. I don't like to have to tell people, read the password out to friends who want to use my Wi-Fi, or get them to read it off a piece of paper or whatever. I like to just tell them it's something simple. And then you can apply that. Now the thing about that is that your Wi-Fi name has now changed. So in the past you had this name, and now you have another name, which is the one you've just entered in here. So you have to reconnect to your other network, which I've called GeorgeNet, and it's now going to ask me for the password, which I set as let me in 123. So now we have our own Wi-Fi name and our own password from there. Other settings you may want to change, if you're going to use the external antenna, sometimes you need to. Mine came defaulting to automatic, auto. What you can do is you can tell it that you definitely want it to use the built-in antenna on the device, or you want to use a single antenna or the dual antenna. The one I showed earlier is the dual antenna. Auto seems to be pretty good actually. If you plug in the antenna, it seems to detect them, and my signal strength went up at 1 bar using the external antenna almost next to the device. So I think the external antenna does give you a slightly better signal. My feeling is that if you're in a very strong signal, the antenna is not worth paying the money for. If you're borderline or you're not getting the speeds that you'd hoped, the extra £90, I think the antenna was, the extra £90 may be what pushes you into a decent speed. I purchased mine because, as I say, I get a fantastic signal from the terrace, and only a mediocre one from inside the house. Hope that's helped. If you've got any comments, post them below. I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments from network engineers telling me I've not done it right. But hopefully this is enough to get everyone set up, and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.